So let me begin by praying to the Lord and seeking His blessings for all of us as we move forward today for the next 1 hour. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we are talking about the power of I can and how this whole concept of Aham Brahmasmi, I am the Brahman, dovetails into the entire Gita and how it makes a lot of sense as far as we are concerned. I must begin by telling you that Aham Brahmasmi, the concept itself, while Krishna alludes to it, it's not directly available in the Bhagavad Gita, but we will deal with that in a little while. Adi Shankara talks about Aham Brahmasmi in this way. He says, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. And he says that in us, we have all the Brahman that is required. And we have all the divine that is required for us to do whatever we want to do. So let me begin by doing a quick recap of yesterday. And I must thank two of my dear friends, Rotarian B.K. Prasad and Rotarian Anantabhat, for sending me a beautiful recap of yesterday's talk. The first one was that we all need to work on a higher purpose in life. We need to develop a macro vision, because if we get stuck in the micro vision of I, me and myself, then we're not really able to do what we want to do in life. And therefore, we need to develop a macro vision and move things forward. We need to therefore align our work or our goals to the macro vision, our purpose in life. And I recommended yesterday that your purpose resides in your heart, and therefore listen to your heart. It will tell you what is right. And that way, make your mind a slave of your heart. Because the mind will constantly keep telling you what is an issue, but the heart will keep telling you what is right, and therefore will give you a way forwards. Having said that, let me move forward today into the next aspect of the Gita and how it makes sense for all of us. You see, the power of thinking I can is a very interesting power that each one of us has got. Yesterday we talked about our conditioning and how our conditioning constantly influences the thought process that we have. While there is nothing that we can do about the conditioning that we go through in life, we can certainly alter our thought process. We can do a thought override and therefore improve the kind of action that we take and get the results that we want. The issue is simple. When you're working on your macro vision, when you're working on your purpose, when you're trying to align your purpose in life with what you're doing right now, as I said yesterday, sometimes or most times in life, we have no control over what we are doing. We've chosen a particular profession or we've chosen a particular vocation and we've chosen it. At some point of time, we thought it was the right thing to do and we've done it. It may not be something that we are keen on. It may not be something that we're truly interested in. That is perfectly all right. It is understandable. But if we can align our purpose with what we are doing, then a lot of our issues get sorted out. So when you're working on your macro vision, we will be confronted with lots and lots of obstacles. It is but natural that these obstacles will come in the way. Just very much like how Arjuna asked Krishna in chapter 2, saying, how am I going to fight with Bhishma and Drona? Forget the fact that these are people that I have an enormous amount of respect for. The fact that they are such accomplished warriors, how will I withstand their arrows? How will I withstand whatever they're going to hurl at me? And it is this obstacle that kind of deludes him into thinking that maybe I can't really do what I want to do. And this is the problem that all of us go through in life. You see, a lot of these obstacles are creations in our own mind. And we are perpetually building bridges over rivers that don't exist. We're trying to figure out a plan B. Frankly, in life, there is nothing called a plan B. I mean, you should not have a plan B, according to me. If you're very focused on what you want to achieve in life, then you should go ahead and do it. And don't worry about trying to create a fallback, safe option, etc., etc., etc. So we are all the time trying to cross bridges in the future where they don't exist, where there is no river at this point of time. And that's the way we handle any obstacle. Very much like Arjuna said, look, why would I want to fight this war? Why would I want to kill my own kinsman? Why would I want to do what I want to do? And it is but natural that you have this kind of a thought. Now, the fact remains, as Shashiji mentioned a little earlier, that we have now entered the new normal. And there are going to be enormous challenges at a personal level, at a family level, and at a business level. At a personal level, how are we going to realign what we are going to be doing? How are we going to realign our thoughts is something that is going to be very true. At a family level, how are we going to ensure that our families are going to be safe, that they are protected while they are continuing to do what they continue to do in life is going to be another big challenge for all of us. And at a business level, I believe there are going to be lots and lots of challenges that we're going to face, which we're already starting in. Those of us who started work from yesterday will agree with me that whether it is the kind of pricing that you used to do earlier, or the credit terms that you used to give, or how do you actually manage customers, how do you manage their expectations, how do you manage employees, the margins that you're getting, cash flows, survival, all of these are going to be issues that are going to confront us right now, here today. In this process of being confronted with all these obstacles, we're all trying to figure out what will happen day after tomorrow, the day after that, or the day after that. And in the process, we're all trying to find solutions at this point of time for issues that are purely in our mind. Let's get that one right. So what happens is this, that when we walk in life, when we want to do anything in life, it is nature's call that we will fall. I've yet to meet anybody who has managed to learn how to drive a cycle, how to ride a cycle without falling off one or two times or three times. But it is only those that persist in being in the saddle that will actually master the art of cycling. Those who give up will never be able to cycle in their life. They will perpetually be scared of cycling. So if you're going to fall in your life, that is not a failure. One of the biggest conditioning issues that all of us have got into is the fact that falling is failure. Actually, falling is not failure. Falling is absolutely normal. You must fall because each time that you fall, you get a chance to sit back and evaluate where you're headed, what are you doing in life, and it's a good time for you to pick yourself up and start walking again. So falling, ladies and gentlemen, is not failure, but falling and choosing to remain there is failure. A person is successful when he falls and when he gets up and he starts walking again. And there are enormous examples of this, of people who have actually been able to fall and not worry about the fact that they've fallen, but focus on the fact that they need to get up and start walking again. So what happens when you fall is that yesterday we talked a lot about conditioning and comfort zone. What happens when you fall is that you unfortunately decide to start looking for options. And invariably your comfort zone will push you into looking for an easy option in life. So what happens is that we unconsciously or consciously gravitate towards an easy option, an easier option. And therefore, we are saying, okay, maybe this is not a great option for me. Let me go into an easier option. Let me share an interesting fact with you. I was, for some reason, not a very good student in school and through my college. And I just didn't like to study for some reason. And obviously, when you don't like to study, when your heart is not in the studies that you're doing, the marks that you get are not very good. So I had to change school when I was in 4th. I had to change schools when I was in 7th because, I didn't make the grade and I didn't actually get going to the next class. And even in 11th, I had to, get out of BSc, do a BA, so many stuff like that. But very interestingly, and with deep appreciation and, prayers to my father, my late father, every time that I actually fell, my father ensured that I moved to a much more difficult institution. He refused to allow me to take the easy option in life. And he kept telling me that you need to move to a harder option in life, because only then will your innate strength, will your innate ability to confront challenges come to the fore. So I keep telling people, don't take the easy option in life, because if you do, then life becomes difficult. But if you take the hard option in life, then life becomes easy. Just think about this. If you take the easy option in life, life becomes difficult. If you take the hard option in life becomes easy. And look at what Arjuna also told Krishna. He says he wanted to take the easy option. He said, I will not fight. It's the easy option. Why should I fight? Let me go back and let me take 5 villages. Let me not live in this. Let me not have the sins of killing my relatives. Let us not get into this entire war. And that was the easy option that Arjuna wanted to take. And Krishna kept advising Arjuna a very simple thing. He advises him to take the hard option. And he says, look, fight for dharma, because that is what you were born for. That is your purpose in life. You were put here to protect dharma. And I am here with you. And when Krishna tells Arjuna this, there are 2 options that Arjuna has at that time. One option is to say, okay, Krishna, you are the Lord. I will accept what you are saying and I will do whatever you tell me to do. And there ends it. And there would have been no Bhagavad Gita after that. But Arjuna has so many questions that he needs to get answered, because these are all the questions that his mind is throwing up constantly. And he is still not, though he has an enormous amount of respect for Krishna, though he has an enormous amount of love for Krishna, Arjuna still is beset with questions. He wants answers because he is still not convinced that what Krishna is saying, and mind you, Arjuna knows that Krishna is divine, is divinity himself, he is the Lord. And the same thing happens with each of us. We will have so many questions that when we want to move ahead and work on our macro vision, on our goal, and therefore we will seek people out and we will have so many different questions. And if there is somebody who's seeking you out at that time and asking you questions and saying, how do I handle this situation in life? Then my request for you is to become like Krishna. Krishna could have just ordered Arjuna saying, I am telling you this, go do it. And that would have been the end of it. Arjuna may have actually gone and done it. Mind you, he is the Lord himself. He could have used his Maya and he could have changed Arjuna's entire thought process and said, just do it because I am telling you to do it. And that is again for us, people like us who are asked an option in life. This is what we always do. What we do is that we tell people, do it because I'm telling you to do it. But look at the way Krishna handled Arjuna's many questions. Through the 700 verses of the Bhagavad Gita, with infinite love, with infinite patience, repeating his concepts again and again. Because Arjuna does not give up. He's a true, he has so many interesting questions that he wants to ask. And he doesn't give up. And he keeps asking those questions again and again and again to Krishna. And Krishna keeps repeating those answers with infinite patience, with infinite love. Because Krishna ultimately is the quintessential I can person. So don't take the easy option in life. I stay in Bangalore. And we have a very interesting traffic system in the city of Bangalore. We are perhaps one of the only cities on which, there used to be a flyover that was there. And we used to have a policeman on the flyover directing traffic. That's the kind of city that we live in. So the traffic is very chaotic in Bangalore. And everybody kind of knows that in the city of Bangalore, you don't measure distance in terms of kilometers, but you measure distance in terms of time. So if somebody asks you, where are you going to? And you say, I'm going to Jayanagar. And nobody says, okay, how far is Jayanagar? people will ask you, how long will it take for you to get to Jayanagar? And you say, maybe it'll take an hour or hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever it is. So invariably in a city like this, you're caught in a traffic jam. And when you're caught in a traffic jam, every intelligent person on the road at that point of time decides to take the next lane, the right lane or the left lane that's available, because he or she thinks that he has got the most intelligent knowledge at that point of time, and decides to take that diversion to the left or diversion to the right, and creates a bigger mess in all the roads around. So if only we were learned that, look, we are in a jam, somebody will come and somebody will move this jam and things will get better. Let's have some patience, which is the hard option in life. Life will become easy. But we complicate life by taking those easy options and moving things. So when we need to reboot our lives today, and when we need to discover the higher purpose of life and align our work and activity to the new normal, it is extremely important that we need a new philosophy to guide us. And it is this new philosophy that really is going to help us move forward in our entire life. Because if we don't get this new philosophy working for us, then we're not really going to get anywhere. And therefore, I'm suggesting to all of you that you look at the power of becoming an I can person. Because if you become an I can person, if you listen to your heart and get the confidence from your heart that I can handle anything that is required in my life, that I will fall, but I have the strength to get up and walk again. When a child falls, don't rush at the child. Encourage the child to stand up and start walking again. When somebody falls in front of you, lend a hand, but convince him that he or she has the strength to start walking again. Become an I can person. Because the world today, in the new normal, needs more people like us who are practicing and who are living the philosophy of I can. That I can do anything that is required in my life. You need to become what I call an inverted paranoid. And I will deal with this whole inverted paranoid in just a while. But you need to become an I can person. So when Krishna tells Arjuna by the end of the Gita, you are what you believe in. You will become what you believe in. So if you believe that you're an I can person, then that is what you will become. But if you believe that I am not an I can person, then that is what you will become. So right at the end in the 17th chapter, Krishna makes this point to Arjuna, saying, Arjuna, ultimately remember this, that you are what you believe in. And if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe in your capacity to be an I can person, if you don't believe that you can do whatever you want in life, then you're absolutely right. But if you believe that you can do whatever you want, that you have all the answers that you require, then you're again absolutely right. So you are nothing but a set of what you believe in, and that is what you need to move forward in life. Look at this simple English issue. Whenever you ask anybody, can you do this? The immediate answer is, I cannot do it. Okay? Can you work on your goals? I can't do that. Can you actually think in terms of putting up a plan in the new normal to grow your business? I can't, I don't think I can do that. I can't do it. It is now becoming our conditioning issue to keep saying, I can't do this or I can't do that. Actually, ask yourself a simple question. Is it I can't or I won't? My favorite example to people to make a difference between can't and won't is if I were to take you to the top of a building and ask you to jump off from the building, is your answer going to be I can't jump or I won't jump? It will always be that I won't jump. It is not that I can't jump. I won't jump because if I do, then it's a foolish thing to do. I may hurt myself, I may kill myself, I may hurt somebody down there, and therefore I won't do it. It's a foolish thing to do. So ladies and gentlemen, remember this, that whenever we are confronted with a challenge or an obstacle in life, our mind will keep telling us that I cannot do it. We'll keep telling the world that I can't do it, but actually the mind is saying I won't do it. It is not that I can't do it. And therefore, if we were to change this whole thinking, that I can do what I want to do in my life, I will become what is known as an inverted paranoid. Look at this whole concept of being a paranoid person in life. A paranoid person is someone who believes that the whole world is conspiring against her or him. That everybody out there is out to get me. That there is nobody out there who wants to support me in my life. And I am being conspired against because the whole world is now doing things to make sure that I become a failure. That is what a paranoid person believes in. But if supposing you were to change the dynamics of this and you become what I call an inverted paranoid, then what are you saying? I now believe that the whole world is conspiring to make me successful. What an amazing thing, isn't it? That everybody out there has got only one agenda in life. And that agenda is to make Mr. Ram Seshu the most successful person on earth. That every plan that he has got, every thought that he has got, every goal that he has got, everybody is now conspiring to make sure that I become successful. Everybody is now working with me to make me successful. Just imagine in this new normal world that we are in, when the whole world is extremely worried about what will happen to us, how are we going to manage this world, what is going to happen in this world. The world is not the same anymore. Things are changing all around us. People are changing. Families are changing. Everything is changing. And in this uncertain, dreary world, just imagine if you stand out as a beacon of hope. Just imagine if you can stand out and say, I am telling you, my friend, that I can do it. And if you start radiating that confidence of I can to the whole world, just imagine how powerful you'll actually become. So when you become an I can person, there are no no's in your life. You start practicing a very fundamental philosophy called the power of volition. And this power of volition is something that is a truly empowering power. This whole philosophy of volition actually comes to us from the Vedas. All the four Vedas, talk about the power of volition in their own way. And this is what we call the Mahavakyas, where one each from each of the Vedas is such a beautiful, look at the power of these four interesting Mahavakyas. And of course, there are so many other minor Mahavakyas, but the four interesting things that I picked up, look at them. One is Prajnanam Brahma, which means pure consciousness or wisdom is the highest truth. Now you need to make wisdom. So one of the things that we need to all of us do is to become what I call wisdom workers. In the new normal today, the knowledge worker is no longer an important entity. It is the wisdom worker. So knowledge is at one level, jnana, but then the person who has actually implemented that knowledge and has the wisdom is now going to be much in demand. So each of us in our service or in our business or in our life, in our family, if we can start practicing in becoming a wisdom worker, then you really are going to go up. Now this Prajnana Brahman is from the Rig Veda, or the I am Atma Brahman, that is myself, I am the Brahman, from the Atharva Veda, or Tattvamasi, which is thou art that, which is from the Sama Veda. And finally, what I believe is the most powerful of them all, that is Aham Brahmasmi. I am divine. I am the creator. I take accountability, which is from the Yajurveda. I take accountability for what I am going to be doing in my life. I am someone who can create my own destiny. My destiny is not in anybody's life. I am the creator of what I want to achieve in my life, which is this whole concept of Aham Brahmasmi, that I think I can do whatever I want to do to make my life the way I want my life to be. And I can take my life into an area which I'm going to be proud of. I'm going to find that very desirable. I'm going to do what I want to do. So just look at this whole concept that I am the Brahman. I am the creator. I can do everything that I want to do in my life with my life. I am not going to give my life. I'm not going to give the responsibility of what my life is going to become to somebody else, but I am going to take control of it. It is internal. It is there in my heart. If I can tell my heart that, look, you are solely responsible for the direction that you want your life to take from today onwards. Just imagine the kind of power that we are going to get. So you will radiate this whole feeling of I can. And when you radiate this feeling of I can, what actually will happen is that you will start empowering every single person around you, yourself, your family, your employees, your associates, your customers, your vendors, your suppliers, everybody that you deal with. That become an I can person. Become like me. Become somebody who starts believing that Aham Brahmasmi. I am the creator. I am divine. I am someone who can do whatever I want to do in my life. Keep that feeling, keep that thought going, and then there is so much that you can really achieve in your life. Having said that, how do we actually bring this whole concept, this whole large philosophy into a day-to-day practice? Is it possible for us to do something by which we can actually bring this kind of a thinking, this thinking of I can, this power of I can, into our daily lives? So there are a couple of things that I'd recommend, for people to become inverted paranoids. The first thing is this. All our lives, and yesterday we talked about it very briefly, and I said we will expound on that a little more today. All our lives, unfortunately, is spent in being compared to others. We're all the time being pegged against others. We're all the time being pegged against somebody else. In this process of being pegged with somebody else, in this process of being compared with somebody else, it is unfortunate that we are made aware of our weakness and not our strengths. Just think about this. We're all the time looking at ourselves. And if you ask somebody, the way, and this is something that starts from childhood. This is another conditioning problem that we have. Yesterday somebody said, how do I recognize conditioning? Here is the conditioning issue. You're fair, you're short, you're tall, you're fat, you're dark, you're handsome, you're not handsome, you're intelligent, you're not intelligent. All of these are pure comparative statements that people make. Nobody looks at us from an absolute perspective. You're all the time being said, so-and-so is inferior to you, so-and-so is superior to you. And therefore, you must aspire now to become as good as they are, and things like that. So in this deeply comparative world that we live in, unfortunately, we have forgotten what are our strengths. One of the biggest casualties is the fact that we don't know what are the strengths that we've got. If you can only do one small exercise now, okay, and I'd like you to think about this. Okay, if you have a piece of paper and a pen, you can jot it down. If not, at least think about it. I want you to think right now, what are 5 strengths that you've got? Just think about this, that these are the kind of strengths that I've got. Am I good in communication? Am I good in convincing? Am I good in, I'm very passionate? Just think of what are some of your strengths that you've got. Okay, and we can do this as an exercise live right now. If you can just write down saying, these are my strengths. These are 3 or 4 or 5 strengths that I've got. Just think of them. Let's take 30 seconds and, maybe make a mental note of what you think are your strengths. If you've done that, then fantastic. I'd also like you to think of 1 or 2 weaknesses that you have. Okay, are you somebody who's excessively scared of the future? Are you, do you procrastinate? Do you get very angry? What are some weaknesses that you have in your life? Okay, so on the one hand, if you look at the strengths that you've got, and the other hand, I'd like you to take a look at the weakness that you're thinking of. Just think of this, and I'll show you how the Bhagavad Gita actually gives you a fantastic way on what you can do with your strengths and your weakness. I'll share that with you. Okay, you'll get a very, very interesting thing just in just 30 seconds. If you look at the strengths that you put down, if you look at your strengths, all the strengths that you put down will be the way you think. And if you look at the weakness that you put down, they're all weaknesses that have got to do with your behavior. Anger is a behavior. Desire is a behavior. Okay? All of these. So it's very interesting that because of the fact that we are more aware of our weakness than our strengths, we give more play to the weakness than to the strength. So what does Sri Krishna teach us in the Gita? He teaches us something very simple and easy. He gets Arjuna he doesn't tell Arjuna, forget your weakness. But he beautifully does a thought override to Arjuna. He knows Arjuna has these weaknesses. And he does a complete thought override to Arjuna by initially talking him about Jnana Yoga and then Karma Yoga and then Bhakti Yoga, and doing that entire thought override to Arjuna, and says, focus on your strengths, think of what you've got, fight, because this is your dharma. Go out there and do what you need to be doing. Now look at the beauty of the Mahabharata war. Does Arjuna completely buy into Krishna's philosophy and thought? No. When it comes to the time when Arjuna has to confront Bhishma, Arjuna gets weak again. And there are one or two instances in the Mahabharata when Krishna in utter disgust gets down from the chariot and takes the chariot wheel, it is said, and he goes to try and attack Bhishma. And Bhishma, knowing that, this is nothing but the Lord himself, this is Narayana, puts his weapons down and, pleads, with his hand saying, you know what you need to be doing, so just do whatever is required. So the point is this, that if we were to focus on our strengths on a daily basis, if we were to keep reminding ourselves on our strengths, because it is very easy to slip back into that weakness, like Arjuna slipped when he was confronting Bhishma in the Mahabharata, in the Kurukshetra war. It is very easy for us to go back to our weakness because that is our conditioning. That is how we are conditioned. We are conditioned to bring to the fore our weakness. So if you want to achieve something big in life, if you want to achieve something different in life, if you want to do something with your family, if you want to do something spectacular in life, as you are moving towards that, you will have to constantly on a daily basis keep reminding yourself that I am the best communicator there. I am the most passionate guy. I'm fantastic at this. My planning is very good. My execution is very good. My convincing. You need to constantly keep reminding yourself of your strengths, because your mind and the world around you will keep telling you what is your weakness. And therefore, you will start slipping back from an I can do it into an I can't do it. So one of the ways of continuously thinking I can and bringing to the fore I can is to start thinking of your strengths and to start playing to your strengths. Many years ago, I read a very interesting article of about the Australian cricket team. And the Australian cricket team was on its way, was not really winning any great matches. Those were the days when the West Indies were right at the top. And Steve Waugh was asked to take over the Australian cricket team. And I understand that he went and met an eminent philosopher and he asked him saying, what do you think we need to do? And this philosopher is supposed to have turned around and told this team, why are you playing to the strengths of your opponents? Why don't you play to your strengths? You play to your strengths. Don't worry about the opponent's strengths. Don't worry about getting them out. You worry about playing your game. You worry about bowling the right ball. You worry about, batting in the right way. Don't worry about it. And then that's history as to how the entire Australian team for a brief while, for about 15, 20 years, became the number one team in the world. So you play to your strengths, not to your weakness. So that is one way that you can constantly be in terms of being an I can person. The second thing that you need to do, so the first is to think I can, the second is to play to your strengths, not your weakness, and the third, don't get daunted by the enormity of your macro vision. It is possible that some of us will say, oh my God, this is something that I need to do. I don't think it's possible. I don't think we can do this. And I'm glad that there are so many Rotarians here in this room today. And some of you who know the kind of work that we do in Rotary, for instance, we took a very, very daunting macro task saying we will wage a war against polio. And that's a huge war. It's not an easy war. Okay. How can you actually even think that you can eliminate something like polio? And today, but for the fact that we've got this current situation, that war is being fought very successfully, and but for a few small pockets here and there in our neighboring countries, most of the world is polio free, including India. Now, how did this entire war happen? If you thought for a minute that everybody across the world is going to be polio free, but that was not so. What really the WHO, the governments and the Rotary to a large extent did was to peg away its small little pieces. First do this, then do this, then do this, then do this, then do this, and slowly but surely the war against polio is being won. And that is exactly what will also happen in your business. That if you have a huge goal in your mind, try and see if you can break it into smaller compartments. And for each of those compartments that you break your vision or goal into, align one of the strengths that you've got to work on that. So if you've got 5 strengths, if you've got 6 or 7 different small compartments that you want to work on in your macro vision, in your macro goal, then start seeing which strength will be used to work on which particular aspect of your entire goal or macro vision. And there you will start seeing an enormous amount of success in that whole thing. So if you can start dividing that entire vision that you have, and if you can start working with your strengths on each of them, then you do it. So just to quickly summarize, let us see the kind of learnings that we get from the Bhagavad Gita on being an I can person and actually practicing it. The first lesson that we actually learn is this whole concept that I am responsible. I am the creator of my own destiny. I am Brahma. Aham Brahmasmi. The second is to start practicing this I can thinking on a daily basis. It is not an option that I will do it on a Monday, but I will not do it on a Tuesday, but I'll do it on a Wednesday. It doesn't work. And that is why the war lasted for 18 days. Because why did the war go on for 18 days? Because of the wavering, kind of enthusiasm and levels that the Pandavas were bringing to the war. And that is why it went on for so many different areas. And this is something that you need to do on a regular basis. It was only after the 8th or the 9th day, when things changed and Bhishma fell, that the entire I can thinking in the Pandava camp came to the fore. And that is when they started getting their successes against the same opponents that were there. So you need to practice I can thinking every day, number one. Number two, you must keep remembering, as I said, you are divinity itself. I am the Brahman. Okay? Please take the hard option in life. Don't take the easy option. When this lockdown is going to move on, take the hard option. I like what Dr. Vinod was telling us a little earlier, that he, being an ENT surgeon, is at very, very high risk. The easy thing for him is to say, look, let's do what has to be done. The hard thing is to keep his practice safe and to make himself safe, to make his patients safe, to make his family safe. That's the hard option. That's the option that each one of us have. The easy option for us is to say, let's go back to what was happening earlier. The hard option is for us to say, okay, we will struggle for the next 3 months, we will struggle for the next 6 months, we will struggle for the next 9 months. But that's okay. Let's not lose our principles, let's not lose our values, let's live with those values and those principles. That's the hard option. Let's not take the easy option, because there'll be lots and lots of people who will be taking shortcuts these days and they will all come to grief. Let's not do that. Third, Operate to your strengths. Make sure that you do your strengths. Do what I call a strength audit with your family. Sit with your family. This is a great time to sit with the family and say, my son or my daughter, wife, mother, father, whoever, what are the strengths that we've got? Brothers, sisters, let's put down our strengths and let's keep focusing on our strengths. Sit with your team, sit with your employees and start talking to them about the strengths that they have and say, let's focus on our strengths, because this is the time that we need to be strong. This is the time that we need to make sure that we bring our strength to the party and not our weakness, because the world will be full of weakness. World will be full of stories of weakness, of how people here are not doing well, of how people that are not doing well, of how businesses are closing down, and how the economy is not going anywhere, and how the world is collapsing. The world will be full of stories of weakness. You need to become an island of strength. Do a strength audit and focus on one day at a time. Don't start crossing bridges that are not there. Don't start building bridges over rivers that don't exist. Start focusing one day at a time. Take one day, take one aspect of your macro vision and do that. This is a great opportunity for all of us. This opportunity is not something that will easily come back. And if we can align our higher purpose in life, like what we discussed yesterday, of making your mind a heart, a slave of the heart, becoming an inverted paranoid, and start thinking I can. Bring the divinity in you to the fore. There is no reason why we cannot become the most successful people in the new normal. Success is ours because you are divine.